effective supervision machinery. Now it make able for no then the delinquent institutions will not pay, and because some of their institutions and they will not be they take proactive measures for ensure say they meet their obligations. Now I don't devise a new strategy in the Ministry of Labor. Before this term, NASIT go hold on to them for long. They don't know the other thing what they need for them. But now I don't let them know say any delinquent institution will not pay NASIT. They're supposed to report that to the Minister of Labor. The Minister of Labor will take that to cabinet and government entire will be aware. So in the event you fall short, like for instance if you are a contractor, where you don't know now say you don't default, if the Ministry of Finance get for pay you, would they undertake for deduct their money then and pay them to NASIT? And would they make sure they will not give them social security clearance certificates, would they make them get opportunity for get other contracts for implement them particular programs. You know, the requirement of the law, every year is supposed to renew certificate. So now if you don't get a social security clearance certificate for sure say you don't meet your obligations to NASIT, that will not be reviewed. So we don't institute their measures for ensure compliance. And with the industrial court who establish where people are now they face litigation, right? And then they find them guilty. And then they get for can pay the interest rates we don't accrue as a result of failure to pay. Now you find out for you to a large extent then issues and they don't minimize.
You make mention of complaint with them for late to the minister way in your office. Yes. But even though minister then can say the doors then always open to the public, but there are procedures. People will get them kind of concerned and they waiting at the procedure where they go through for let you complain really reach at the desk of the minister for let action be taken.
First, the complaint get for be formal. It should be in writing. Now they officially read to you. But when you get some people that will not go to school, some of them not know how they should. They come to the minister, most of the time then they report verbally. So they assign a staff who they take the information from her and assist them, especially when that particular worker did not get the means for go and hire the services of a lawyer. So they provide that. But on most cases, they have to give a written explanation of the issue. Then the minister, the militant to the appropriate officer who respond for initially look into that matter. Normally, when they report, say for instance, a complaint comes against 98.1, right? For say they not pay their salary for one worker. So what you would do? Would they normally write to the head of the institution, drawing their attention to that particular report and invite that person to a meeting for me to look into that at the first step. Some cases then they're not king can. And we ask them 1, 2, some JD officer ask 1 or 2, then we graduate into the permanent secretary.
So from where you open this kind of opportunity for them people here, how many of such complaints don't come? Because I think of maybe, for example, somebody that work in a government institution and notice say they're not they pay in assets. How you go let that kind of complaint to a government minister for say they work in an institution A or B, but I fair not say they not they pay in assets.
No, that example we use so they come to the minister. NASIT don't they make adequate information campaign for tell people where you don't go check your contribution record. If you find out for say inadequate, when a government they pay you there is a gap, you get decide where they go na customer service na NASIT, you bring that complaint and NASIT they effectively pursue that aspect there. Then gaps then can just occur as a result of technological problems then. But since the person not really responsible for deduct the money, NASIT they normally contact the financial secretary and the accountant general and make sure they regularize that. Me suppose you don't so have been get contribution gap. You know, I don't retire last week, right? Me say we can begin getting NASIT something, but there was a gap at the time where I introduced NASIT as against when they introduced the actual system for capture the, especially the one they wouldn't get for the then services would then provide backwards before they establish NASIT. So, but then the corrector.
Mr. Minister, in terms of this mechanism we put in place for respond to complaint and which workman can get, how swift una can really respond? Because most of them people here, you can see them bash into we compound, Kali some of them complain here, we already get the Ministry of Labor.
No, Sunday then you just want to create mischief, but they're not going to follow the law, right? Now I make them just scan the radio and this and that. I agree for say sometimes the officers are overburdened. Then cases are almost in the count on a daily basis, In the count on a daily basis. And sometimes it really frustrating processes some employers then deliberately then just want to deprive the worker of what in benefits. It's very clear some employers then they when the person work for over 15 years, they want for avoid for pay end of service benefit, then just defend something small, then say then dismiss them. So they face their issues then they but assemble and they can, that's how they deal with them. But now we don't try for establish an effective tripartite system. The Labour Congress, the Employers Federation, and we be see if something happen. First, if I know how to deal with that employer, they are the report and first to the Employers Federation. So within the mechanism, then the advisor for me honor. So when we exhaust the mechanisms, then they, if we not work, now the term that I go take the hammer for bring them kind of the industrial court.
When you begin talk, you make mention of challenge where the ministry they get in terms of finances and logistics for move round.
Certainly.
And monitoring, now one big challenge where this ministry be done they get even before you they take up the office as the minister day. But that's notwithstanding, people they expect say the work should be done despite challenges. And this area of ensuring that institutions them especially keep to the minimum wage when at 600,000 as we talk, although we notice a negotiation they go on again for let them increase that one day for the workman them. We don't they get complaints, we don't they come up still for say some workplace and they will not they keep to the minimum wage of the workman them. Waiting don't happen different from the last time when you come out here.
Yeah, well, what's different now the fact that if you get issues of that nature, you not bring them to the fore, let them know. You will continue for suffer panda. But most of the time, they will bring them, they get the employer for enforce that particular provision there. Mind you, the labor law also called for employers the way now very small employers, yeah, right? Now you make the Employers and the Employed Act. It talked about the issue of a contract between the employer and the employee. You get some employer then where EBC until you just get first, just open a cookery shop, right? Then you take one person there where you say if I can't help and for work, right? Contractually you supposed for pay him, right? Like that minimum wage. But you go say until you know say myself now half bag rest we don't begin cook so no more for us. Now 300,000 at the due before you move that. So that is not a kind of actual violation. But now the ministry responsibility for check the financial capability of those. Now I make the ministry they attest them contract and they before then sanction them. Now I know more people they don't know. But some people can pay below the minimum wage and it's acceptable in the law. But then the Ministry of Labour has to be notified so that that contract will be vetted and they know the circumstances on which they arrive at that day. But everybody is obliged to obey the minimum wage as stipulated by law.
In line with the intervention of the labor workman them, where employee they can carry and concern go, then get this belief or they can always take and say, waiting the employer can don't tell the labor workman them, build a story around them for say some of their employee active now in more the labor workman them can believe rather than the use story for say they don't work almost here then just dismiss them.
I like that, Andy. If I tell you, I always talk about the difference in time when I take now labor. This time around, we get more proactive people in the labor who know the compromise with their employers more than ever before. I know they say other instances, they know they would themselves are human beings, but to a large extent, then they do a professional job.
All right, continue for the between at the studio. Alpha Timbo, Minister of Labour and Social Security. We will come back to you. We'll go to the issue of the overseas travel for people and we want to go work from salon. Now, other countries, them we can talk about how government reached to that decision they for lift the ban. The program Good Morning Salon, they continue. They come back to the Minister of Labour and Social Security, Alpha Timbo. Now they can look at the ban where the government on lift, the temporary suspension where they don't put on overseas travel since February 2019, and inside April ending we see they don't finally pull the ban so that people go begin to travel back, go overseas. And as I've been stated earlier, people where be done the travel go to different countries them for go work, go do different work them from salon. Be done the serious concern them but challenge them where they can face, where they can end up going and then country. And we be done the see video them also where be they come out. Also some of them be they record themselves, they explain the challenge within the face and be the big governments for pull and come out and then country and they and come back. Well, most of them people and they according to reports will be together and that. They may they travel through illegal way them where the government not be recognized, but some again be said and they go through agencies them where the Ministry of Labour been supposed for get registered agencies them way for handle people and working travel. But now we see government don't lift the ban back. When they come over to the minister again, let me start for no waiting governments do. We make on a pull the ban on overseas travel for people and we want to go work in a different country then, despite the challenge them we be done the year from people and we be done the go the previous years. How una reach to this decision?
Well, the first thing I want people to know is international migration na part of the life of the individual. We own a Muslim, the Holy Prophet, he moved from Mecca, he came to Medina. People and they move for various reasons, for study, for other greener pastures, for they can go. So it has always been a phenomenon. What's important is now the measures where a country they put for making benefits from the vast opportunities where they out there for them nationals there. People that don't go America, you go find out for see them Filipinos, right? Then Spanish then. Then they don't almost overtake the economy in terms of the jobs with the American citizens and all, and including your African brothers. Then. So international migration, I just want to establish that partly now an international phenomenon. Now Sierra Leone now maybe starts the issue of work overseas with the late Patrick Foyer of blessed memory. But then from that same day to now, what you be failed for do now for put the measures them in place where go make people and continue for benefit from them to the point that governments get for banner. So when they ban them, even though they for some time, they're not able for lift time. So me as a Minister of Labor, I believe say that not to the right way for go. The Minister of Labor in the first place now for promote productive employment and also make sure it attract decent jobs for people. So you're not going to be an agent for straight employment. So that's been temporary. But what you would don't do, what government consider, they consider for lift the ban, now the following. One, as I say, we need to put the measures. With them being banned, you not solve anything because people then they go underground. Then they pass through different means for go. All them pictures when I be the soon and the print and the electronic media about harassment, the treatment where then they give them. Now, as a result of the manner where they emigrate the country, no structured system not been there. They are exposed to all kinds of indignities at that time. Now, in the government will get the burden. One, for facilitate the repatriation through the International Organization for Migration. So that was a burden. Then government not for be seen for continue for do that. So as a result, the Ministry of Labor be not try for put on what you call regulatory mechanisms for ensure say we get a smooth, orderly, and legal migration. What are these requirements? You mentioned about the existence of the employment exchanges there. The previous Minister of Labor, Mati Tembo, during the APC government, then we register some recruitment agencies them and then give them registration certificates for carry on their recruitments then there. But when I come, I see, yes, now part of the policy for able for give them opportunity for recruit, but then the systems where they ought for put in place for make them go able for facilitate that they not actually be in place. So what I can do, we make an assessment of them companies here, the infrastructural orientation, as well as the capacity of staff who then gain at them various offices and for determine their suitability. That I have done. You understand? As I speak, I not give none yet an official certificate of renewal. Then they will continue the employment exchange with the lifting of the ban can. And I don't deliberate because we just want to give everybody the opportunity will not exist for can demonstrate incapacity at this time. This time around we lift, we immediately get 1,000 jobs for provide. I tell them, see, let them use the infrastructure back for make them go see how they go able for interview people in their various areas then. Let them meet the criteria and then come out to the ministry, will verify before they go. And 9 and they can do so now. So right now, every day they move around while they pan this recruitment and they go to each office for see what are the systems they would then put in place for that. So we do a regulatory mechanism. The one get for do with the companies that would recruit, then the other one get for do with the states that would then people where they go. Then the one get for do with the migrants themselves who they move.
Mr. Mensah, the tell una lift this ban on April 21 specifically, and on that same day they una do an announcement of this legal overseas travel for more better job opportunity. You don't think that it was too swift for una lift the ban the same day? Then the same day una make an announcement for open the road to people them?
No, not because you don't put the mechanisms in place. Where you don't lift the ban, you get opportunity. You for make use of our streets. Now, by so doing, you're able to access the things that we don't put in place for that day.
So even
so
though
not swift at all.
You say renew the license certificate yet of them companies and but currently as we dey talk now, how many agencies them the ministry recognize? Because the issue back we can come with them people here. Now where they not know, then they go to agency, we go lie to them say the ministry recognize me, give me your documents and take money now they and they follow them travel. So from the ministry now, how many registered agencies and they for overseas travel?
There are almost about 19. They are the one meet. But as I say, they all as at now, they just get the opportunity for the do then they pre-qualify the people then. Everything on this one, they sent out through the ministry and the SOS Labor Ghana, the institution where government don't approve together with them for can assist with, for develop, for strengthen the structures now, for make sure say we will get a kind of orderly migration. So for now, governments now they take the lead with the SOS Labor Ghana, right? Under the leadership of Dr. Okansi, we get for don't go, don't come, we get for come back next week. So don't put the systems in place. Like I say, then recruitment agencies here, then they can do the initial part of doing the pre-orientation, but all of the determinates like the Ministry of Labor before finally then they left out for this country.
Apart from the regulated mechanism, the way you don't put in place for the access to people for travel, in your statement, when I be the lift this ban, and also so Salon don't get agreement with some of the Arab countries for ensure say where we people go they then get the right treatment waiting they go don't sign to. When are some of the agreements there so?
We government approved 2 MOUs they were present together with the lifting of the ban. The memorandum of understanding with the government of Sierra Leone and the government of Kuwait, on labor migration, then the memorandum of understanding between the government of Sierra Leone and the government of Qatar, right? In each of them, we recognize the state-to-state responsibility for able for protect the workers the way they move. If they want to move na Qatar, if they get for can work na salon, or they want to left salon for work na Qatar. So we spell out the responsibilities of each party. Like I just name a few of them. For instance, before somebody go left Nayaso for go na Qatar or state, we get to make sure say he go through a recognized agency approved by the ministry and the regulatory framework where that particular company for fulfill gets the Nayaso and not one for church on the 8th, but the recognized agency get to make sure say we get a clear terms of contracts for the individual before he left here. So, which in they pay them, how then they pay them, how they receive the salary, which are the minimum hours of work, and everything attested by the ministry. And before the person they left, the Ministry of Labor, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, now then they attest to whatever the person they go through before they left here. The one they will get serious medical requirements, all of that has to be completed, like this one they can do so, all of it you get for doing. By the time you left for go, the Ministry of Labor, they make sure see the data of the migrants then they shared with the Foreign Affairs as well as the embassies abroad for make them go able for know. Now he make designate special officers them, although not make labor attaches them, which is the vision for the future, but most of them people they serve as their information attache, they provide them kind of services right now at the embassies then. So they get to keep track of them. Then me as a Minister of Labor or me designated representative, they periodically visit them people here, meet the government, the Minister of Labor and the country and then various countries then they will share information with respect to people who they move from the country for go and then say the one they come on and then country for car work. So now mind you now the Minister of Labor they give work permit to them your national so they can for car work.
So now what can go wrong or what can happen where they make with all NTR we don't explain so as responsibility on the side of the government Naya and self decide the side they can go the agreements where then get bilaterally. What can go wrong where they make where for example with the use salon context now because we don't see video of people where they talk say where they can go now some of them can't care. As soon as you reach, then they seize your passports, communication they cut off from the people and the work where you can don't sign to say now you they go do where you go. Now different thing you they go meet without payment. What can go wrong?
Well then they go wrong because the system all will not go wrong. As I say, people them they go underground, no regulation. You get what you call the visa 18 and the visa 20. You understand? Somebody even they talk then this year on the radio where you say all domestic workers then they go put them on slavery. You get the visa 20 where them they talk about, right? We call it the Kafala system for labor migration. Then that system they expose people into boku things. One, they go with clear terms where you go. Then they tell you, say where you go, you know for the waka because the first way they go work to, right? Now us then they left you then go work. So now that visa then they so if they come out now or police go hold you, the employer you know get responsibility for that one.
But
so,
I can explain to them people where then they go say this visa what they do, for pass.
No, I just say now that they're supposed for do at the time wouldn't mind you may not be involved in the illegal migration. But I just they tell you the dangers pertaining to the Kafala system. The Kafala system, before you left, you supposed for no say where you go now to your employer today. Right? You don't get for the come out, you don't get for sending for go market and visa 18, they do so. You they travel, nobody know they take your passport. That visa 20, then they tell you say your passport, you know the holder. You understand? Okay. Before you they go. Visa 18, you they hold on. 2, the minimum hours of work, then go stipulate and like this one they do so. You get minimum hours of work. Number 3, you get outside the day, right? Where they done weekend, outside the day, then before they come for can work. So these are all different things then, totally.
Okay, continue for the week with Minister of Labour and Social Security, Alpha Timbo.
Program Good Morning Salon, they continue, and from that report, Series Sapchikalon put together from the Minister of Information weekly briefing, Usai, the Minister of Fisheries and Marine Resources, they announced the ban on fishing activity enforced for the close season. When they come back to the Minister of Labour and Social Security, we continue for talk about the issues them where make governments don't lift the ban on overseas travel and self measures them where they don't put in place for ensure say salon people where they left the country go work and then country and come back safe. Now, Mr. Ministers, we they continue for look at the constraints where previous years we don't get complaint from salon people where can go work and then country here. We don't make mention of the 2 different visa and where they can give when at the 18 and the 20. And from experience and information where we be done they gather, people where they use the visa 20 be done they get more challenge compared to the one them we can go with visa 18. So waiting difference don't happen now when I don't lift the ban in terms of measures of the kind visa where people them they use for travel.
Well, what's in difference, make a mention them first for the agency them first where they participate in this. Now for make we go issue out a license to any agent. The Ministry of Labour will therefore verify the corporate and legal personality of the applying company and your own international partner. That's one. Then 2, when we receive the application, the Ministry of Labour will send a memo to TOCU, that Trans-Organized Crime Unit, for make themselves go do a background check of that particular company there, including the international partner if they get any. When they don't do that, the counterpart company, when they receive and will therefore sign a bilateral agreement between them one and they for show evidence that they get the capacity for engaging them kind of thing. Then when they done that, the Ministry of Labour therefore be involved at every stage of the recruitment process, right? With labor officers then for make sure say from the time when the contract begin for established to the time when they establish the provisions for the contract, the Ministry of Labour get involved so that the terms and conditions of service where the person they go, then they intern them with the labor laws of the country inside they go. Because many a time, if they not do so, nothing will make them lost end of service benefits and even the minimum hours of work when they do that. Then 3, the visas then and the air tickets, they at all times have to be provided by the employer, both in terms of living and when the time of contract for the employee they come back. All of them they expressly stated. Then all the fees then with the recruitment agency get for charge, the ministry get for sit down, go cabinet to endorse that, and then they get for operate on. Then the workers they then they recruit for go overseas, then say for go thoroughly vet them. Right? And how they vet them, then get police clearance, then get for go through the necessary medical checkups, so then supposed for go before then go depart na the country. Then. So all of them things here, now they would all make sure say we do. But one of the most important, the ministry they conduct what you call a pre-departure orientation. You know? Which side them people where they get for go, which side they get for go work, and the rest of this thing. And their recruitment agencies here through the SOS Labour Ghana, where they can develop a manpower profile so that at any time job opportunity come, we don't get the skills bank where they able to undertake that. As I dey talk so, just because we lift, people then get surprised. If you say no more, international migration, you get for deal with for go na Europe or that. No. When I been do last week, when I do a talk on international forum, I tell them, see, movement within the sub-region is far greater than when they go na the Gulf.
You make mention of the fee. We can't talk about the countries and most of them people are for the go later in the program. But you make mention of the fee where you say when I go get for greener cabinets as to waiting the one they were interested for go get for the pay to the different agencies and most of them they go do the application for go. But this fee where we talk about currently as we talk, anybody they pay anything to anybody where you want for travel go work overseas.
Yes, this particular one we talk so now the responsibility of the migrants. One, they get for provide them passports. And responsibility that one there. Number two, the pre-medical requirements. You know, the way they go for go get yellow card. Now you're supposed to make sure you get that one day. Then you get for now you're responsible for the police clearance. Where they for go. But the actual medical, where now the HIV, the COVID and all the other ones, when are the requirements of the company where then they go. Now the medical, the employer now they pay that. In fact, for the categories of workers who they can't go so. Now an international medical firm, what they call SINLAB. Now they don't come. Then we don't come last week. They don't spend between about 2 weeks. They can look at the infrastructure in terms of health facilities and visit corner, then visit them private establishments.
Why international medical people? Which happen to your
they have to, because they have to fulfill the requirements of the employer. Because anything falls short of that, then go charge in terms of insurance to that employer. So then get to make sure see the one where they are credit for that come. So then don't come, they visit the hospitals. Then so as I speak so, then get to can work with Ramsey Hospital. Then get to work with Schulman Hospital. We get plan for strengthen the government facilities, you know, so that this particular aspect as we move along in the future, governments have will adequately address that particular side. So this don't prevent the migrant workers here forget for travel first for go Ghana for the medical. So the medical team they come as I talk so in the next 3 days they will be here where they can work with them people here for ensure so they get the proper test where they are supposed to go.
So, Mr. Minister, then different measures that don't put in place for see people go the right way and then country for go work. Another one what they say it's not too costly. We go make certain people and still prefer for go the other way, when are the illegal way.
For get passport for yourself.
You talk about passport, you talk about medical, and now you say other experts they come when they get for go pay and do it.
The employer and the responsible. Now they talk so. I don't distinguish the responsibility of the migrant. I say for this program, the program then get for vary. I get for tell una the other one then just not. This not just domestic workers. International migration, this not just a minute aspect of it. But each and every one they count in requirements then. I will explain. But this particular one with this so the responsibility of the migrant worker now a passport. Right? Now he responsible for him pre-medical for go get the yellow card. Now a responsibility. The police clearance now a responsibility. But the HIV and the other pregnancy test then are the employer. And for make sure say they fulfill that, they have to get an institution that they trust. I make them do that. Because if they go test the under back, they find out for see them fail the test, their employer gets the task for repatriate them and you don't lose it.
How well structure and organize this whole process because when you come within the part outside the ministry in New England, you see people in different batch, some man go grumble, they all put me name it and all. When are the structure and organized system where the Ministry of Labour with that of the travel agency they don't put together for ensure say wait you talk to now the actual process where they carry on this particular program.
Now the actual process with the so if you go Calbaton, then Supreme, you go to them Global, people are there waiting to be screened and the rest. The Ministry of Labour, we don't find us for say because then they check them weight and the height. Some of the people they know they do that correct, then just guess the height there. So we'll come for verify. Now we'll find out for say all man they say 5 feet 8, 6 feet this. If they see somebody not 6 feet safe. And all the measures they are important measures. And so right now I make a by scale in a ministry. So by the time we make a measure. So we find out discrepancy, we know they make that portion they go. Right? So the measures they 6 I make them there. So for this first one, we get to make sure she will get it right. Because when we get it right, then we get more opportunities available. So mind you, the SOS Labour Ghana, we will give the task for can help we. They are internationally recognized. Now, because any certificate of exit, where then give any migrant worker, any side go they excel, now email could they do so. We say if nobody know they left now so. Pass will give them certification.
So
where shows this person they come out salon, they go Canada. And we go they represent the image of Saudi. And I go tell Una in the next 2-3 months, and I go see different brand of migrant workers there.
So this set of people and very currently they go through this process.
Yeah.
In order and the you make mention of domestic work where then they go for go do. Now whose parts in the world, then people here they go do then domestic work and now whose kind work then they go for go do.
Now this then they go Saudi Arabia, so they go for go Dubai, right? And so basically now people that will get a basic education, right? We expect them people are for able for they take care of the home, right? The people that we need them people are some of them are rich people, right? Where EBC they need them services them. So they get for land they look for people who sabi drive back because on them they need people that way the possibly work then they need for me sabi drive, right? So then they request for make them get the person with in man. Okay, so and want if the man a driver, the woman they will take care. So the man they drive them for go, then the woman they. So you get different scenarios about them, and they all they work on them for make sure say they're satisfied. So they ask them basic things about hygiene. Most of them, what do they know in terms of domestic work and the rest of this?
So what about the self?
And two, they're for able for communicating English. That are the most important. They're for able communicating English and for able for rights back. You know, edibly for make people then go.
What about the self-training of the individual for know how for use most of the advanced thing them house equipment them way people in another country they get at the house?
Now part of the pre-departure orientation for them why so we don't go SLTU, we tell 510, we don't make arrangements with the leadership, then they give you venue there. We don't come back, we meet the Minister of Higher Education, then get some technical vocational centers with that in the day. We they get a microwave, then washing machines and everything. Where it be say first you know be not exposed to them one in it, they will get a pre-departure orientation for about 5 days before then they left. So not you know they left way would they do we not get for be proper this time. I make the and they can then feel disappointed. Every day I sorry for talk that because with the interview maybe 30-40 people now too they qualify.
Okay, continue for the with Minister of Labour Alpha Timbo inside where they tell we about the ban where they don't lift and measure where government on put in place for ensure say people will go begin travel back on oversee country them do the right thing so that when they go na them country then they not go through slavery and other bad experience them where be done the happen. Mr. Minister, you don't tell me the different category of work them way available in the country and the process where they go now in the country. But so much where you don't emphasize on now the issue about you being a maid or a driver. Another one go to say we not get another better position where people for the left salon for go work in the other country for.
We get, but you see, make me thought process not done. I will can't answer that. Just now, they ask me the question, what are the requirements? No, for go. Now I don't talk about that. Now we have to know them go, how then they pay them. You know, because this has been the issue. We don't go there, not pay, we don't turn back. So now I just close that part there. Then people how they go this time. The payment terms where we don't sit down and discuss, where we get for make let them know is that the percentage of their salary, then go retain them as a migrant worker, not decide where they work. Because then they provide for their accommodation, then they provide them for their food, then they provide for their medical insurance, then they provide them for all other things. So what you need money for, all of this are being taken care of by the employer, right? So that they're not staying for nothing. So the amount where they can to you, basically now for make you saver, right? So what you do, we make sure say a small percentage will therefore determine the percentage they retained by the migrant worker. A greater percentage of it and go pay and directly to the migrant account where they open a salon here, where then go get a MasterCard, where then go issue to them, where the migrant worker, if you want to issue them to a loved one or somebody where you want for make you go take money while in there away from your account at a particular amount where you therefore take. The other aspect is that we therefore make them get a contribution to government in human capital development. Because at the end of the day, we want for sure where the lifting of the ban, the transformation, we bring tangible things away then done. Then the last part of it, I therefore make them contribute to NACIT. You understand? Because international migration is all about social protection. So at the end of the day, they therefore contribute to NACIT.
So like in terms of the category of a person they go work as maid that then country, waiting for be them pay.
Yes. Most of them, they earn up to close to about $250 United dollars per month, apart from all the other things, and right? So that amount will they go to them. So can you imagine person to there for 2 years and not get job, you get outside, they go. At the end of the day, for the year, at least you go able to save not less than 20 million.
So now to me question on more better position apart from maid and driver.
Okay. So with that question, I just want to tell you, see, we own migration. What they do, you get three main components. Listen, you get three main components. The first component get to do with SOS decent job. This now go for them Gulf states, what they talk about. Where they go Saudi, the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, and them area demand most of the time at them basic education level. That's one. And this most of them they go for 2 years. Maximum maybe 3, then come back. This is not a permanent migration. So that in one, now we dey pass. We get program 2, we now in the work study program, and this it will take place in Canada, the United States of America, the European Union, but it mainly there for the science students then. Who they do bachelor, who don't already get a bachelor of science in then STEM subject, that is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So then one needed, and they, as I talk so now, we get an offer of up to about 200. Where it be said by next week, we will make sure we release the information. So graduates, they out there who want for promote their education and career through the use of STEM, then will get opportunity. Then in a 5 years program, 2 years study, then 3 years work. Then we'll get up to a loan of a maximum of about 50,000 United States dollars for make them go able for make sure then complete their studies. The universities, they all would identify them, they want to be part of this program, and the financial institutions, they would raise the money for the loan. But at the end of the 2 years period, that particular scholar, the 3 years where they work, they able to pay in loan. Say for instance, if maybe they decide to choose a university, we have $30,000. Now they pay for the 2 years, except you own $50,000. That's the maximum. You cannot go beyond that. So, but all of them 2 years, irrespective of the differential amount of the university you belong to, by the time they work the 3 years, you go able to pay that loan day, and that particular scholar they go able to come approximately back home with an amount of between $30,000 to $40,000. That's the second program. The third one, now we call the Diaspora National Service. We get a whole lot of Sierra Leoneans, they will be no move out, and other nationalities who want to do something now. So this is a 1 year program where they attract people who are professionals, then people who get BSc, people who want to get masters, PhD, and people who get technical and vocational experts there. We want to come provide service and salon at the time we then get free chance, but then we get the institution who will pay for that. So that's the third aspect. Now in make we own program, we call this one transfer to transform. Right? As we transfer people, but for me, then come back, then can transform the
as the time the near for that program, we'll get you back for explain more on them. But let we go back to the one that we get for do with this set of domestic workers them. We want to negotiate for right now because the process already they on. You be make mention of about $200 where then they pay them people here. 200 United States dollars.
Past 200, 245.
All right, so $245. We go back to that issue. This money where then they give now one way concern be don't they come again from them people here. So this $200 now then take home, or it include costs where then go forgive to the agency.
No.
It include medical or any other thing on a just then take home dandy.
Did not then take home as I say, the cost for medical, the cost for transportation,
where then
the
they
cost
if
for
something happen.
Yes, all of this no deep and this. The contract will they enter, get separate for deal with their aspect and their medical insurance and everything. This is an actual take home. Now I make this one, I give the breakdown as to how they can. A greater part of it they come back home because the objective of migration now for many person come back. So that when he come back, he will get capital where he will be able to make use of, for make you able for promoting your life. So they come. So the issue of saying they're not paying me and then they know they arise at all.
So I be asked earlier again, but the one the way they go, the type of visa the way then they use. Well, the visa 18 and visa 20, we don't talk about the challenge we can with the visa 20. We not still encourage people or the visa 20 is still available for
out.
people
No, it's
so they're not go travel with them again.
No. As far as this particular program concerned,
okay.
That's out of that.
Okay, so Mr. Minister, in line with this visa issue about visa 20 and visa 18, not true for say that they give the people where they left Saluya visa 18, but where they go yonder, they go change the visa to visa 20.
No.
We go make at the end of the day, then go into the slavery and other bad treatment.
No, Dandy, not true. But we person don't come out with that. You see, we go enter under then get visa 20. No, that not they happen.
Okay, continue for the with we inside the program. Alpha Timbo, Minister of Labour and Social Security.
And spear parts them.
Our citizens, especially those that go to Arab countries.
More message inside the program. This one is say, why is it that this opportunity is for the Middle East? What happened to countries like America, London, Australia, and other Europe countries?
All right, Stefana, when we go look at Jackson, come on Facebook, they ask, say, please, Honorable Minister, what is the status about slavery harmonization?
This one on the next story, the person they say, NEC Commissioner, please make sure that the 2023 elections are not postponed. Some of us are wondering how a census can be conducted with less than 2 years before election. The people of Sierra Leone will not encourage or accept any postponement.
All right, before they come to the minister for response, Usman Koroma, they say, Mr. Timbo, please, when the recruiting agencies or company bring projects in your ministry, please do the paperwork fast as possible so that the international partners can get the people they need for the job, as some of these contracts are also given to their countries like Ghana, Kenya, Cameroon, etc. Delay in the ministry can lead to cancellation of the contract.
This last hour, I will take this. Thanks to the new direction government of President Bio for lifting the ban on overseas jobs, and hope and pray that suitable experts from these countries will make good use of this opportunity.
All right, from the message and then Mr. Minister, you respond to the one that we don't come in.
Okay, thank you very much. I start from the last one where they mention where the person say they are make sure say when the recruitment agencies then ask for jobs, make the ministry give the clearance quick. I get one now, so we can. This one came yesterday in my own office. This particular recruitment agency, they try for us for make them go get people that already go work as mail airport loaders. The people that already load them to the airport. You see, want about 410. The basic salary now $800 plus allowance and the rest. So the amount you see are huge. Then you want number 2. You want cargo loaders also. When about 350 you need. The basic salary is about 600 plus allowance plus food allowance plus $125. So right. They need maid warehouse workers. Then the basic allowance they need 700 of them. The basic allowance are 700. And you see, but this offer it lasts for 6 months. They either go to Ghana now for 3 countries: Ghana, Nigeria, and Sierra Leone. Now this is the person they talk about. So when they get these offers, these are there. So if the ministry not give you go ahead quick, then why then go elapse after 6 months? Now they say. Then I want to let the person know say, I'm not in a hurry too much for them. They are always there. We got to make sure I do the things properly. With the reflects cabinet then concerns and the general people then concerns. As I say, until I don't vet out them companies here thoroughly, see the area of operation, I'm not going to allow anybody. We're not in a rush. We don't do for all these years. No people are not. Then jobs share them indeed, and they go. So we'll begin so we got to do the right thing, because at the end of the day, if we not do the right thing, then they block we back and not give them jobs and they. So now that people see me under. But I want to assure everybody for say we will take measures then swiftly for make sure say we regularize the thing then. The other person, I go upwards. The person see looking at the situation about labor harmonization. Probably they talk about the review of the labor laws then. Then the particularly ongoing. The reason why some of them lost they like the Industrial Relations Act, the Workers' Compensation Act, and not put in it, the Overseas Migrant Act, including this, will not put in it. Now because government will try for establish the basis, the salary harmonization, right? So more than the Common Parliament, you get some implications. We go hinge on the review of them other laws than this. So now image. Then somebody say, why only the Middle East? We'll not just say the Middle East. I will not explain this on the other program, one of the STEM program where they go to other countries. Then, like I mentioned, the United States of America, Canada, and then EU countries. Then I mentioned that. So not to Middle East no more. Some of their requirements are like you see this one, Cameroon. So within Africa also, they exchange labor. They can't say Biano. Get plenty Ghanaians say, they work now with ministries, then departments and agencies as consultants. Then, and the same thing they talk about. What the other person talk about, what you go do about then travel agents and for take money. Well, then travel agents, I know they call that take money. This is part of their job also. Only that it has to be regulated. Because when you come to the office, you want to do the proper documentation, then get for provide a service, right? So they have to have something for the provision of that service, and then an international practice. So the only thing is going to be regulated. As I mentioned just now, and the ministry get to stipulate the fees. And I want to let people then know, say each job carrying your own requirements there, right? Like then jobs they would they can send, where they go to cashiers, then they would go work in banks, then at Dubai, and then place in there. Then they clearly put for you, say, for make you get this job here, so the one way creates the opportunity, you want $400. So if you meet them, okay. If you don't meet them, you know they go panda one day. So, but all of that will be transparent and people then will get for know. So not to only many jobs like who they talk to now then. In terms of the collaboration for all of this time around, the Ministry of Labor, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, they coordinate effectively for make sure see migrant workers then wherever they come from and go, they effectively traced. Where the other departments then necessary for coming, like the Ministry of Health, then they come in. Where the Ministry of Internal Affairs, they come in like now, then they help you forget them passports, then quickly, then they do them. So a whole lot of interdepartmental coordination now they take place.
So for this particular program, transfer to transform, when they give opportunity to people for travel legal one, almost people don't go through the right process and we don't meet to the criteria.
No, as I talk to, nobody not go through all the procedure yet. What you do now, pre-screening for 60 days, 40 days, we read them, right? Now we just do so no more first. So what don't do now the turn that the person they go for taking photo, right? And this photo back, you get all the small requirements. Then say people they will get tattoo, they all that thing, and they all then they out.
So somebody be asked for communication.
You understand? The most important aspect of it, you get for able for communicate in English small.
Like when you did it for talk with people in Aya or the
then they get them telephone then they get their mobile phones and this one now then they go so once they get your mobile phone, it varies. Someday now the employer they get someday now get time, it varies. And mind you, then I get to do a lot of human relation. Even you work well with you boss, you go get more facilities. So then they get them go Mecca. Right? Then people then they move. So they go to America, they bring them back. So they sit like now they won't pick them no more. So in terms of the relational aspect, now I make the issue about the character of the people who they send very important.
Because now that's our ask. And most times the challenge more we can come, they come out from woman them compared to concern that we will come from man them, because of course woman issues them always the way they come up. So how on a don't work for ensure say with Zenka mechanisms say the women are protected when they go, especially for go work something you master because a master notice it and they call them boss them. The master when they go work for when a man them they're able to forget a working relationship where something else not go happen with. Yes, but most times they can get problem with the man master them in terms of relationship wise. Waiting at the measure wanna put in place for let the woman then go then feel safe and do their work and come back with an reach for camp.
Okay, the woman who they lead this process, where they interview then pick if they use them go see professionalism because they teach them on things that with them. If you see them, one let them demonstrate as their abilities, they teach them back the don'ts them. Where they do them. I get one message we send to Sierra Leoneans, we maybe I go WhatsApp and to her later, giving advice as to how they can be successful with this kind of migration. So all that and they will take them into consideration. Now in terms of the vision in the future, we did decentralize this particular program to chiefdom level. So which side the basic character of the individual is first known. Outside now the recruitment process therefore start because this whole thing because we stop and a whole industry as you move along. So we believe say the one who they choose this time then will be people of good character. I make them they undergo their interviews and at the end of the day the pre-departure orientation would then they undertake. By the time they reach back, then they give them back basic orientation about the.
Before you left, how much I don't consider consent and age in this particular process?
That this one nobody pass to be 21.
Okay.
This particular employer pass to be 21. So then they take 19, but this one and like you left for 2 months for B21, they need to take care.
Okay, plenty thank you to you, Minister of Labour and Social Security, Alpha Timbo, for that update today on the legal travel program where they don't get now, where anybody, once you don't reach to the age, you can come to the ministry and follow the due process and procedure them, as this now a way for the opportunity for let people away this salon able to travel go to other country then for more better job opportunity. Once more, thank you, we be with guests inside the program. Good morning, Salon.
Thank you very much.
Okay, well, now this edition of the program, Good Morning Salon, they left you for today. The last edition of this week, Michael Sambola and Alex Lawrence Komana then produced the program. DJ Lava give technical support, Moses Kavora and Osman Kamara. Make on see we live on with Facebook streaming. We will bring this edition of the program, Good Morning Salon, to you today, Friday, May 7, 2021. Mina Sapti Kalonda say happy weekend and bye-bye.
And Mabel Kabade says, stay out of trouble, get yourself a wonderful weekend. Goodbye.